biscuit batter.
This horizon, it's shining. Seems the daylight knows this is our time.
I know, I'm so good.
Jay, you need to be here soon.
I'm doing it soon.
Well, that's what it's always a thing.
Yeah, then yeah, probably. And
Okay.
sweet.
The world is ours to take. You and me will find a way. Oh, the wonder that awaits. Here we are, forever starts today.
Thank you. Where does this one go?
This adventure we were meant for. Every day is a chance to discover. You give me reason through every season. Together we can do anything we believe in. All the world is ours to take. You and me will find a way. Oh, the wonder that awaits. Here we are, forever starts. Through it all and what we face, you and me will find a way. Oh, the wonder that awaits. Here we are, forever starts today. This horizon, oh, it's shining. It seems the daylight knows this is our time. All the world is ours to take. You and me will find a way. Oh, the wonder that awaits. Here we are, forever starts. Through it all and what we face, you and me will find a way. Oh, the wonder that awaits. Here we are, forever starts today. Forever starts today.
Damn it, I gotta get married accidentally.
Yeah, does yours not do that?
Do mine like mine covers like?
I was a stranger in the crowd.
Like you're hiding.
Up in the clouds, and when our eyes they finally met, I could see our story months ahead. You showed me worlds I never knew. You turned my darkness into blue. Now I'm feeling 10 feet tall. Since you said you'd be my all, and you're mine.
Couldn't be more excited. Get to marry the man of my dreams today. So I'm really looking forward to getting to the venue and then having everybody there with us to share a happy day.
What's your first impression when you see
Well, everything's been perfect so far.
And when you first met him?
Oh, when I first met him.
First impression.
Well, it was very dark, but he seemed like a wonderful guy. And over the last 5.5 years, we've really gotten to know each other on a level deeper than I have with anybody else. So it's so great that we're here today.
Tell me a time where you're feeling really proud of him.
There's too many to count. Too many to count from. He's so successful with his work, and really, but the main thing is with his family. You can see the way his family appreciates everything that he's done for them. Growing up, he was essentially the father figure in their family, and I can tell that everybody has just the utmost respect and love for him.
What do you look forward to? Most look forward to moving into this next stage of life?
Just continuing our love story. We both love to travel. We both want to see the world, and I couldn't think of a better person to spend the rest of my life with, sharing those experiences.
I brought other shoes. Is that what you did?
Born ready.
You're born ready?
I was born and Cedric was 18.
Perfect. Talk about something, laugh like a crazy person.
The stars are all watching you, shining brighter than them somehow. Days have all faded, and there's no more waiting for this right now.
Yeah, because it's 12:40, 3 hours, 20 minutes.
Wow.
Here in my
420 or 320?
in all
How long ago?
And let's go.
I dreamed of this moment with you. You have my heart. Now to
Can I try it?
Well, we're gonna bring them to the venue. So we have to.
Is your Christmas board? Yeah.
Yeah.
At least unwrap yours to show them
Yeah.
it's on it.
Should we not all?
No, you should. Yeah.
It's Christmas. Oh, this is fucking good.
Oh my goodness.
This is dope. Well, it's gonna be so hard. You gotta, what's the technique? You gotta turn. You have to turn it. You turn the heel. I know.
You need to watch,
But you start like that, or you go like this, and you turn.
you need to watch Beer Fest.
Oh my god! You got a snowboard?
dreamed of this
For you too. This is my present to all of you for supporting me.
That's actually what it does. Nice, dude. Great, we got a snowboard up.
This is the best part. You are the best part.
So, looks super cool.
This is the now to forever. It's true. This is the best part. You are the best part. Yeah, this is the best part.
Let's go to Cedric. Go to hug Cedric. Let's go. It's the last thing. Last one.
That's crashing over.
Okay, that's good.
You got it. Wait till they start dancing.
Oh yeah, I know. Shake it out, so fast. Shake it out.
This love is like
All that jazz. So you have like what, an hour before you get? Yeah.
is like no other.
He's not gonna levitate on his own. I'm waiting for Jean-Michel. I don't think these are gonna be good. Like juggling as hell.
My body lift me higher. There.
All right, pretend he's not heavy.
Smile.
You weigh a lot, dude. Jesus Christ, feel this.
What did you eat?
Solid gay man right
It's all muscles.
there. Wow.
I can't help it. I have a big dick. It's heavy.
And I don't ever want to. This love is like the church bells, as loud as they can ring. In the good man's face on his wedding day, when he sees his bride to be. It's like a little girl holding daddy's hand for everyone to see. Yeah, this love is like no other. It's taking
Switch. Where you gotta stop it?
This is brilliant.
Go. Guys, we're not together. No, I'm not.
never want them to.
Like, turn to talk to each other. Turn to talk to each other. Look at each other.
Should be terrifying.
Let's go.
We cleaned up pretty good, bud.
You did good. You did good.
So, how are you feeling right now?
It's really hard to describe. And up until yesterday, it was all about the preparations for the wedding and everything else. And I woke up this morning and it was. It's about marrying the best person I know. And it's a great feeling. It's not often that I get that feeling of extreme happiness, and today is one of them. Hard because I'm crying, but you know, the opportunity to be able to do this and in front of all the people that we love and be able to tell him how much it means to me to marry him is amazing. The opportunity to have everybody that we love gathered together and celebrating us, but them not knowing that the party is for them, is special. In the speech that we're going to do at the evening is when we're going to actually reveal that everyone came there for us, but our plan was to throw the biggest party we can for the people that care so much about us, and that this wedding happened in the way that it is. It's extra special because it doesn't happen everywhere else. You know, some people get slightly lucky enough that it's tolerated and it's accepted. But the people in that room today, they celebrate it, you know, and it's great. What makes it extra special is I'm doing it with the one person that makes my heart beat the most. And that's amazing. I shouldn't be crying. I'm sorry. I'm happy when I'm crying, but you know, yes, it finally hit me that that's what this was about, you know, and everything's coming together. It's great. Weather cooperated. I met you guys. Like that's, honestly, it's extra special that this one is being done by you. Jennifer, the person that's doing the catering management for us and everything else. Nak, my best friend. All you guys are random people that we met, except for Nak. But I feel like you guys get it. That you're capturing the essence of what we were doing and what we wanted to happen for tonight. And that's even more special. That you guys are part of it. Family. They don't often get the chance to see me this happy, and I know they've been waiting to see this come to this, and I'm just as happy that they're finally getting it as I am that I am getting it. It took a while, but it means even more that it's here now. Yeah, I don't know how much I can describe how amazing this feeling is, because it's a feeling and it's not a word, you know. If this can open and everybody could touch it and know how warm it feels. Can't say that enough, how amazing it is.
Cheers! Actually touching glass with each other. Yeah.
Give us the funk.
You guys made this a lot more special. I do appreciate you guys doing this.
I know we can.
I know. Chris already did it. So you guys gotta join me in it. But thanks, guys.
We love you.
Love you guys. I love you guys. The most. The most this and the whole wide
Brown
world.
skirt, dresses.
Pardon?
Dresses look good.
You boys look really good today.
Thank you. They did.
Come and strike up the choir, throw open all the doors. Oh, I've looked low and high and I've never been so sure. I am yours. You are mine. I am yours. And you are the sun shine and how the stars burn bright.
Don't look still. Reach your hands out. Don't leave. Okay, ready? Thank you on your time. You can look at them. Everything is so big.
No dancing, Cedric. No dancing.
We need to like help that.
Okay, now. Put him up, Cedric.
Cedric, oh yeah, help it.
He went back in.
On this splendid summer afternoon, we gather with the cityscape as our backdrop and with family, friends, and love very much in the foreground. Today, Cedric and Graham come together to unite in marriage. What a treat they're sharing in inviting us to join in their celebration today. Cedric and Graham want you to know that your presence here makes this day all the more special for them. Thank you for bearing witness to a love that's grown over time. Each of you has helped them become the people that they are today, and they're delighted that you're here to honor their commitment to each other and to share in their joy. They appreciate how much all of their friends and family have done to encourage and celebrate them, both individually and in their relationship. Graham would particularly like to thank his mom, Nancy, and dad, Elliot, for being the most wonderful, loving, and supportive parents he could ever have asked for. He's grateful for how close you all are, and he's excited that you're here to share in his special day. Cedric would also like to thank his parents, Belinda and Dick, for their steadfast support over the years and for the generous way that they've welcomed Graham into the family. Cedric, Graham, take a moment to look out at the love and support that surrounds you. Soak it in. Feel the love, fellas, feel the love. Sometimes it starts early, sometimes it starts late. I've got extras here. Now, while all weddings are the story of two people committing to a lifetime together, the story of each couple's arrival at this day is always wonderfully unique. Let's take a few minutes to celebrate the moments that helped Cedric and Graham reach today. Like many modern romances, our couple first met on the dance floor. Each of them was out with friends at Celebrities Nightclub one Saturday night in October of 2012. We say it tastefully, don't worry. They were drawn to each other over the beats of the electronic music and felt a connection in the way that so many Saturday nights happen, with random gatherings of people coming together to have fun and blow off steam after a long work week. Now, that first meeting, Graham thought Cedric was a fine-looking fella and a really good kisser. On the surface, they didn't seem to have much in common. Graham had just moved into a new apartment with a roommate and was finding his feet in a fresh career and exploring his independence. Cedric already had a busy and successful work life and was still fragile from a breakup of a previous long-term relationship. Neither was looking for anything serious. Nevertheless, while it might have been just a casual dance floor hookup, something clicked and they exchanged numbers, neither of them really knowing why they were drawn to each other, but following their instincts just the same. They had their first date a couple of weeks later when Cedric invited Graham out to dinner at the uber-fancy Gotham Steakhouse. That dinner went well, and they led to more casual dates over the next several months. Graham says that they took things slowly, getting used to their different backgrounds and trying to gently suss out whether they could make something work in the long run. They went for dinners, out to concerts, and did lots of stuff with groups of friends, so it wasn't always one-on-one. Both of them say that nothing ever felt forced as their relationship grew closer, and it was always natural and organic. After several months, they both knew it was going to be more than just a casual connection. In fact, Cedric knew he was in love. He was having dinner with a bunch of friends, and in the middle of a random conversation, he says he just felt it. He can't explain it really, other than to say something just came over him, and so he grabbed his phone and he texted Graham the words, "olive juice, olive juice," wondering if he'd get the meaning. Happily, the very clever and equally in love Graham knew what he meant exactly and immediately texted the same thing back. Cedric says he can't remember a time that he smiled that much or felt so warm and fuzzy. Now they celebrate an annual Olive Juice Day each April in commemoration of that milestone in their relationship. Graham and Cedric's connection continued to grow as they spent more time together. Because family and friends are so important to them, they also made time in their busy work schedules to connect with pals and relatives, and both still say that hanging out with people they love is the best time they spend. Eventually, they set up home together and began to develop the daily habits of a new couple in love. Graham learned that Cedric has some very specific preferences when it comes to how things are organized in the bathroom. And Cedric learned that Graham is masterful at hogging the sheets. At home, Graham regularly greets Cedric after long days by jumping up to meet him at the door with a welcome home kiss. Their evenings often conclude with a snuggle on the couch watching a show. Then Graham tucks Cedric in each night on the couch, at least 2 times, before he goes to bed, and Cedric continues his night owl ways for a few more hours. Cedric jokes that he's written the tucking in ritual as a requirement of their marriage contract. And while Graham rolls his eyes in protest, he's also admitted that it is one of the favorite parts of his day as well. In addition to their sweet routines at home, traveling's always been important to both Graham and Cedric. Each of them thinks fondly about the time that they traveled to the Philippines and back to the neighborhood in Manila where Cedric grew up. It was an opportunity for Cedric to introduce Graham to his family and childhood friends. And Cedric loved how easily Graham connected with everyone and felt part of the community right away. From that trip, their relationship deepened again for both of them. Having moved in together, Cedric already considered himself fully committed to Graham, so he wasn't particularly concerned about a formal wedding. They had talked about it, but, as with so much of their relationship, figured it would happen naturally and organically whenever the time was right down the road sometime. Fortunately, for all of us gathered here today, Graham had other ideas. According to Graham, Cedric is a very hard fellow to surprise, so he got the jump on him he had to get the jump on him if he was going to be the first to propose. On their 4th anniversary, Graham planned a nice dinner out at Cedric's favorite restaurant, the Observatory at Grouse Mountain. For each previous anniversary, Graham had given him a framed print with some sort of expression of love on it. For the proposal, he decided to get a framed print that would serve as the ring. It was a cute image of 2 characters on bended knee, and printed, one of them was on bended knee, and printed with the question, "Will you marry me?" Cedric unwrapped the gift and said a very enthusiastic yes, and still feels giggly about the whole thing, especially that Graham was able to craft such a wonderful surprise. So with that yes in mind, why don't we get on with a few more of them and get them married, shall we? All right. Here we go. Will you guys hold hands now? Okay. Graham, do you solemnly declare that you do not know of any lawful impediment why you may not be joined in matrimony? Cedric, do you solemnly declare that you do not know of any lawful impediment why you may not be joined in matrimony?
Can I think about it?
No. Excellent. All right, gang, you are about to bear witness to the vows that Graham and Cedric will make. This is an important responsibility. Now's your cue. So I invite you to be more than mere observers by declaring your intent. Will you love and support Graham and Cedric today and in their life together, whatever it may bring? Yeah. Yes. Nailed it. Love it. You've chosen to write personal vows, spoken promises about your intentions for your future together. Sincere, tender, they're an expression of your love and commitment to each other. Cedric, will you share yours first, please?
Yeah. Don't know this. Most nights, I would go to bed and stare at you oversleep. And I often wonder, how did I get so lucky? Well, first, because you're so damn hot and sexy. Let's get that one straight. But also because you're the gentlest and kindest person that I know. Your pure heart and your genuine spirit lets you see the best in people at all times. You met me when I was broken and damaged. Yet somehow, you saw past all of it. You saw the real me inside. We're here today because you did that. Without you knowing it, you fixed me. Because through your eyes, I saw the real me again. Today is a special day. And I want to remember this is the day that I got the chance to proudly and loudly say, in front of the many people here who love it, that my heart chose you. I don't know why it did. I just know you're the one who my heart has chosen to love as the husband of my life. So today, I vow to be the very best husband you truly deserve to have. I promise to always be your biggest fan. I will always be here to support your biggest dreams and aspirations. To be your best friend, no matter where life takes you. One night, 5 years ago, when we were walking on the streets of Squamish, I whispered something in your ear. Today, I want to say it out loud. I love you. It's my favorite thing to do.
Today, in front of all of our family and friends, I'm here to make the most sincere promise that one heart could ever make to another. I'm your constant love and support, your devoted partner in life. I vow to strive to be a better person for you every day, to continue to learn from you what it means to have honest, caring, and generous soul. I'm so proud to say that it's because of you that I am even capable of putting the best version of myself out into the world. Just know that I will always be your trusted companion, the one to hold your hand on every adventure, the one to tuck you in every night, maybe twice if you're lucky. I will always be your place of comfort and calm, and I will always be there to carry you through whatever challenges we face in our lives. Because today I promise you, my partner in crime and my best friend in the whole wide universe, that I will never give up, and I will always believe in us, and I will love you completely for the rest of my life.
Cedric, will you please repeat after me? I, Cedric, take you, Graham, as my lawfully wedded husband. Might need a basket up here. I, Graham, take you, Cedric, as my lawfully wedded husband. Okay, getting there, you guys. We're getting there. I love it. Graham and Cedric have chosen to exchange rings as a tangible symbol of the gifts of love and happiness that they share with each other. Nate and Rowan, will you join us on stage to bring the rings forward, please? Well done, Special Agent Nate. Well done, Special Agent Rowan. All right. Jay, I give you this ring. Wear it with love and joy, and know that I am always with you. You can let go now for a sec. Just a sec, just a sec. I promise you'll get to hold hands momentarily again. Cedric, will you please place the ring you've chosen to wear on this finger and repeat after me. I give you this ring.
I give you this ring.
Wear it with love and joy,
Wear it with love and joy.
and know that I am always with you. May these rings always be a cherished symbol to you and to everyone who sees them, that even when you're apart, you're always present with each other. Cedric and Graham have crafted a sand ceremony, unity ritual, as a way of symbolizing and commemorating the merging of their lives. Just as our favorite beaches are created by millions of tiny grains of sand, so too we're forged by all of the small interactions that we have in our lives. With family, with friends and coworkers, with our own explorations of the world around us, we build ourselves up as individuals and nurture our distinct characteristics. Here, the brown and blue vessels of sand in front of you represent your individual selves. Today, you'll pour yourselves more formally into each other's lives. Although you're entering into a partnership, you'll each bring your unique strengths and personalities into the marriage. And just as the sands entwine their grains, so too you will bring your individual strengths, and they'll build and support your relationship going forward. Cedric, will you pour a layer of brown sand, followed by Graham pouring a layer of blue sand, representing your distinct backgrounds and personalities? Now you'll both pour your sands at the same time, blending the colors and symbolizing your joining together in marriage today. Well done. Just as these grains of sand can never be separated and return to their original shape, so will the two of you forever be united, solid in the foundation that you've brought to your marriage from your unique and individual strengths. We'll take a few minutes now to sign the marriage register, and as we complete the final legal bits of the ceremony, Graham and Cedric would like you to enjoy the song Same Love by Macklemore. This song is meaningful to them because they feel very thankful to live in a place where their love and marriage is fully recognized in law, and because they know that many couples in other parts of the world don't yet share this freedom and acceptance. Additionally, they're deeply grateful that their relationship isn't just tolerated, but that it's celebrated by the friends and family who've gathered here today. So. Cedric, you have married a man who knows that you are generous to a fault sometimes. He's grateful for how much you love and have taught him about what it means to be a kind and caring person, especially when he comes home limping from a fresh hockey injury. When he thinks about the years ahead for the two of you, Graham can't wait to live a happy and prosperous life, surrounded by friends, family, and traveling the globe, exploring all the world has to offer. Best of all, it will be together with you. Graham, you've married a man who knows that you are the most genuinely kind-hearted person that he's ever met. He loves that despite your many accomplishments in life, you also manage to remain humble and grounded. Your character and your pure and honest way of being in the world allowed Cedric to learn to trust again. Well, except when it comes to licking him when he's not expecting it. When Cedric thinks about your future together, he hopes you'll continue to feel the same way about each other as you do today. Life doesn't need to be perfect, just good and honest and happy. And he knows that he's been building that with you so far and can't wait to continue it for the rest of his life. Graham and Cedric, today, in this beautiful setting, surrounded by your family and friends, you've formalized your commitment to each other and made promises to hold each other dear for the rest of your lives. May your days be filled with joy and laughter, May your nights be tender with comfort and love. And may you grow together and embrace your commitment to cherish and support each other always. It is with great pleasure that I now pronounce you, Cedric and Graham, happily married husbands. You may share your first kiss as a married couple. All right. Let's get on with the party.
Now look at each other. Tell me what's the most annoying habit. Give me a kiss.
Dance, dance, dance.
1997 when we were both financial advisors at CIBC. Best bank on the block. Both being very competitive in nature. We were actually frenemies at first. And we were always trying to one-up one another. Because, you know, he's competitive, right? That may be an understatement. But, you know, this competitive spirit really actually turned into a very kindred one over the years. And as years passed by, our friendships grew. Actually, it was actually very interesting when I had an opportunity to become Cedric's general manager for the next 5 years. So, no longer was I encouraging my friend to party to the wee hours of the night. As his boss, I needed to make sure he came to work on time, which was very, very hard to do sometimes. So, but you know, through it all, Cedric and I have always remained steadfast friends. And you know, over the years, he's become much of a brother to me. So when he met Graham, just like a sister normally would, I was cautiously optimistic. And so, you know, I kept my mouth shut. And I know there are a lot of you who work with me, and you know that's not easy for me to do, right? I never do, right? But I kept my eyes wide open, right? So, and so again, over time, it didn't take me long to realize that in Graham, Cedric had found his soulmate. And I know that in Graham was a loving, caring person with a wicked sense of humor, and I was very, very happy for my friend and my brother from another mother. At the same time, I found in Graham a fellow seafood lover, which is very rare because I have a partner who doesn't enjoy seafood. So to have someone enjoy raw oysters with me was a bonus. So that's my backstory and why I'm here tonight. I'm going to turn it over to the UPS man in room here to share something.
You guys are a lot of people. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the wedding of 2018. A couple of acknowledgements before I get going here. One, while we were out taking countless pictures, Sylvia was here holding it down. So thank you to Sylvia, who I sure was doing a fantastic job. And also an acknowledgement to the wedding party, who some I know very well, and others I have gotten to know over taking pictures. Affectionately known as Team Blue and Team Blue. As Sylvia had said, we are very excited to be here tonight. Despite the fact that we gotta pay $4 a drink. There's a lot of bankers here tonight, obviously. Welcome. Of course, it's not a surprise that a banker went with a cash bar. There goes my preferred rate. Well, it's either the banker thing or Cedric and Graham know there are a lot of heavy drinkers in the room. Shout out to the French Canadians. I've known Cedric for about 20 years now.
Since we were 2.
About 20 years now, and like everybody in the room, neither I knew that his favorite color was blue-brown. In all seriousness, as fate would have it, I met Cedric when I wasn't supposed to. And the rest is history. Cedric is a very special person. Above all, he's caring, he's passionate, and he's loyal. I can't imagine the last 20 years without Cedric. When one day I saw Cedric posting a picture on Facebook of him sitting in an ice rink watching some guy play hockey, I was alarmed. For some of you here that may not know, ice rinks are cold. Cedric doesn't do well with cold. Ice rinks are uncomfortable. Cedric doesn't do well with uncomfortable. Cedric clearly found someone special. Indeed, Graham is the best thing that's ever happened to Cedric. I mean, he got Cedric to go camping. We thought hell would have to freeze over for that to happen. Graham, like Cedric, is a very special person. He's patient, he's kind-hearted, and undaunted. Everything required to manage Cedric. And if all else fails, Graham, just put on a Pooh Brown Speedo. That should get out of jail free. Graham, you do know what you're getting into, right? I love you both. Congratulations.
And secondly, according to Cedric, you and I happen to be the two most anal retentive, obsessive compulsive perfectionists on the face of the planet. So coming from him, I think that's a high five.
In all seriousness, on behalf of Cedric and Graham, and his parents, Cedric's mom and dad, Belinda and Dick, and Graham's mom and dad, Wendy and thank you, everyone, for being here to share in their special day. We are all here tonight as a diverse group of different nationalities, ethnicities, and religious backgrounds. Today is a celebration of that diversity. Our presence here tonight is no fluke. Each of us here in this room have played a part in Cedric and Graham's love story. As a result, each of us are connected by our love and care for Cedric and Graham. Above all, today is the celebration of love that Cedric and Graham have for each other. And we're going to party. Throughout the evening, we will be hearing from a number of people who know Cedric and Graham better than anyone. This will give us a chance to get to know them better, not only as individuals, but more importantly, as a couple. But let's get one thing straight. We're here to have fun, and we're here to party, and Cedric and Graham will have nothing less. Last but not least, there's not going to be too many rules tonight, but we do ask, we're going to limit the kissings to 3, because we do need to get out of here at some point this evening. So 3 kissings, pretty please.
If you want more, it ends up being monkey see, monkey do. So whatever you do, they will do, okay? And is it time for a kissing? Okay, keep it rated PG, guys. There's kids in the room. All right, so with logistics out of the way, let's dive into our program for the night. We're actually going to start off with an introduction to the family members of Cedric and Graham, the immediate family members. So families, as we mention your names, if you don't mind to either stand up or just give a wave in the air, that would be great. I'd like to start off by acknowledging Graham's parents, Nancy and Elliot Papp. Families, as we mention your names, if you don't mind. And Graham's sister and brother-in-law, Stephanie and Matt Baker.
Bit of a longer list on Cedric's side. First and foremost, we'd like to recognize Cedric's mom and dad, Belinda and Dick Carson. In addition, we'd like to recognize Cedric's brother and sister-in-law, TJ and Miley Conway. His sister and brother-in-law, Sheila and Ryan Anderson, and Rosabelle and Andrew Doyle. his niece Samantha Conway, and boyfriend Stephen Tway. And finally, the most adorable nieces and nephews, Ella and Nate Conway, and Abby and Rowan Doyle.
Okay, so moving on, we're now going to also acknowledge our out-of-town guests, and there are actually a lot of them, so just bear with me. Actually, is anyone not from out of town? Jeez Louise. Joining us from the Philippines, I'd like to welcome Claudine Magno, Cedric's cousin. If you can please wait. Manette Bernardo, Cedric's friend, and godchild Marvin Cruz. Cedric's schoolmates from high school, we've got Christian Ibanez, Edward Sampson, Lucy Lugo, and Anavi Tamor. Maligayang Padagting.
We'd like to acknowledge our Brexiteers from London. Sherry Coronado, Cedric's cousin and her hubby, and Gordon Parker.
Great, and as Gordon mentioned earlier, all the way from Cambodia, we have Nat Athens, our awesome photographer.
We have some Trump supporters in the room. From Los Angeles, Cindy and Raul Sayed. From Seattle, Washington, Chanel Montenegro and Ian Madden, Cedric's friends.
And then all the way from Ottawa, Ontario, we have Roger and Ellen Lundman, Cedric's uncle and aunt. And also Cedric and Graham's friend, Whitney Morrison. And joining us from Toronto, we've got Janice and Ted Carolyn, Graham's aunt and uncle. David Carolyn, Graham's cousin and his family, Simone, Rebecca, and Melissa Carolyn. Now, my understanding is that there were some other members of Graham's family who were supposed to be here tonight, but due to a loss in the family, they were unable to attend at the last minute. That being said, I'd still like to recognize and acknowledge Graham's cousin, Jeff Carolyn, Leah Gold, and Sammy Rayco.
Bienvenue to our Bloc supporters from Montreal. Donna Papp, Graham's aunt and uncle, and Larry Clemens. Abraham Soroka and Liz Soroka, Graham's great uncle and aunt. Debbie Vinish, Graham's cousin and family, Olivier Lafrancois, Noah Lafrancois, and Eloise Lafrancois. David Pascal and Rayan Pascal, Graham's cousin and his daughter. Stephanie Lundman, Cedric's cousin. Best man, Jean-Michel Roy. Matthew Labelle, Valerie Corcos, Julian Duval-Brulé, Mireya Puy, and Marie-Eve Lemieux.
I like the accents. Okay, so they say that love is thicker than water and oil, and there's no pipeline in the world that's going to separate these folks from coming all the way from Alberta. We've got Oliver de Guzman, Cedric's cousin. And from Edmonton, Alberta, we've got Mo Bombardier, Cedric's man in front. And I'd like to give a warm welcome to Graham's relatives from Devon, Alberta. We've got Diana Rushfeld, Larry Rushfeld, Owen, Thea, and Stephen. Welcome.
From the capital of British Columbia, Barbara Hughes, Roderick Hughes, and Bunny Hughes, Graham's relatives. Christopher and Wendy Wade, Graham's relatives. and Graham's friend, and in the wedding party, Claire Hume, and her fiancé, Derek Heathfield. And last but not least, we'd just like to recognize Andrew Doyle and Rosabelle Doyle, who've come all the way from Port Moody.
Part of the program, I'd like to actually invite Cedric and Graham to come up, and we will now have an opportunity to toast the happy couple. So it's time to break open the bubbly. But of course, in true Cedric and Graham fashion, we can't do this the traditional way, can we? No. So we're going to go all out tonight through a sabering ceremony. So not a Star Wars sabering ceremony, but a sabering ceremony. All right, everybody, if I can please have you raise your glasses. Gord and I are going to kickstart the first of many toasts to come. All right, so tonight, welcome. Tonight is a joyous mitzvah, or a celebration of the love that Cedric and Graham share. Let's all raise a glass and say Mazel Tov.
Good luck.
And L'chaim.
To life.
To Cedric and Graham.
Hello. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jay, and I'm Graham's second most special guy. Graham and I have been bosom friends for the last 10 years, and I can tell you all in full confidence that it's been the best decade of his life. I was honored when Pat asked me to be his best man. He, for whatever reason, thinks very highly of me. His capacity to see even a flicker of light in the darkest of places only begins to scratch the surface of how truly remarkable a person he is. After my fleeting moment of honor, which was followed by a slightly longer moment of confusion, I immediately became nervous, having never given a speech, especially of this magnitude. So, as any good-for-nothing millennial would do in his moment of panic, I took to Google to provide me with answers. I looked up best man speech, and the first hit told me the first thing I should do is dote upon the bride. The word bride stood out like a sore thumb. Shit. I knew Google was no help, and I was alone from here on out. Even though I was now alone, I knew I could still nauseatingly dote upon Cedric. It's something I've done and continue to do daily, even though being prompted by something as inconsequential as a best man speech. Said you are, and you look handsome as hell. Far more radiant than any run-of-the-mill bride could ever dream to be on her wedding day. The only thing that comes even remotely close to matching your handsomeness is your extraordinary organizational skills. I barely had time to prepare this toast once I had finished skimming through the wedding binder. This binder contained everything you needed to know, and probably a bit more about this wonderful day. At first glance, the binder was so massive it could easily be mistaken for the encyclopedia. Just kidding, Seth. Oh, and Pat, your middling organizational ability and pedestrian looks are okay too. But don't worry, bud. At least you have Seth now. I touched earlier on Pap's remarkability, and no, I wasn't making a bad joke, and no, I wasn't just trying to pump his tires. He really is an amazing person and friend. Pap has an incredible ability to connect with all types of people, which I believe is part of why we have such a large crowd gathered here today. He put his ability on display for me in the summer of 2015 at one of our annual cabin parties. Don't worry, Nancy and Elliot, it wasn't your cabin this time. These parties tend to get a bit deranged, especially as the night gets later. I would have arbitrarily guessed it was about 3 a.m. when this conversation took place. The Toronto Blue Jays were coasting to their first division championship since we were in diapers, and hype was at an all-time high. Pap is the most devout and loyal Jays fan I've ever met. Maybe my name is the only reason we're still friends. Anyways, Graham was wearing a blonde curly wig with royal blue lipstick. In fact, the lipstick was an identical shade of blue as the suit I'm wearing. I told you all he was loyal. I'll let you decide if you're either impressed or disturbed by this. Honestly, I was a bit of both. This was actually one of the more conservative outfits at the party. We won't talk about what I had on. I was then treated to a 5-minute-long, straight-faced, blue-lipped, matter-of-fact lecture outlining probably close to 20 conditions that needed to be met for the Jays to win the World Series that year. From the tone of his voice, you would have thought he was on a live broadcast for Blue Jays Network. By the time I began processing what I had just heard, he was already perfectly voguing to a Madonna track with another group of partiers who probably had very little interest in baseball. He is indeed a man of many talents and red hair. As a wrap-up, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to both Graham and Cedric and their families for putting this all together. You've all done an incredible job, and everything looks beautiful. In honor of Pap, I'd like everyone to grab a beer tonight, open it, take a sip, then set it down and forget you had one. And Graham, I hope you enjoy the best night of your life. At least until it's replaced by the Nuckies hoisting a cup one year. Love you, buddy. And thank you, everyone. To the Grims.
I remember on multiple nights I'd just step back and take a look at him, try to see him dance and mimic his every move. But in all fairness, since there's gonna be some dancing tonight, never really worked out. Seriously, who can keep up with this guy? So Cedric, obviously, dancing isn't the only thing he taught me. As a pretty shy person, it hasn't been always easy for me to let go and not worry about what others were thinking. But I always remember what you taught me. Always walk in a place like you own the place. That's when I started to get it. I began to understand how a guy that's probably 25 years older than anybody in the bar couldn't care less. Couldn't care less about everybody was thinking. It was probably having the most fun out of everybody in the bar. Even though this is still something I need to work on every day, you definitely changed the way I see myself. And that's one thing about Cedric. When you develop a friendship with Cedric, you'll always see the best that you can ever be. But not only does he see the best of you, he'll make sure that you become the person that he sees in you. And I guess making you that speech in front of all you guys is another way of you to make me grow. But I mostly believe it's because you take a lot of pleasure in seeing me panic. So even though I'm pretty mad at you for making me speak in public, there's one reason why I'm happy to do it. And that reason is because we're all here together to celebrate the love that these two guys have for each other. Cedric, Graham, your relationship is an example everybody should follow. The love and trust you guys have for each other is something we should all aspire for. When you guys are together, you bring joy everywhere you go. And I have to say, even when they're cheesy, you guys are adorable. And Graham, one of the biggest reasons why I'm happy you two met is the change I've seen in Cedric. He's the happiest I've ever seen him. Even though I don't get to see Ced as often anymore, every time I do see him, he seems a bit more settled and happy in his relationship. And happiness makes you do the craziest thing. For Cedric, I guess it's the outdoors. He started camping, hiking. But you guys should see his setup. He's got his fan, mosquito repellent, giant mattress, hat. You'd call it glamping more than camping, but you get better every time you go, though. Congrats. So last summer, we were traveling around Argentina. My goal was to specifically get him out of his comfort zone. And believe me, he did. Cedric is always set on staying in the most luxurious place. But on one leg of our trip, he managed to book the worst hotel I've ever been in. Even I was scared driving up to this place. Cedric, when I told you to ease up on the expenses of the hotel, I never meant to book a place that came straight out of a horror movie. The thing is, I wasn't expecting less from my best friend. He's always open to try new experiences, and you're never gonna see him back down from a challenge. Traveling with you taught me so much new things about you and made me realize I found a traveling buddy for life. So I remember one night in Argentina, we were about to visit the Talampaya National Park. We were having dinner in one of the weirdest little restaurants there was. There was skeletons of dinosaurs all over the place, and we were literally the only ones in the restaurant. After a couple of his favorite Argentinian wine, Cedric started to open up more about his relationship with his family and his friends back in the Philippines. That's when I started to realize how many lives Cedric has touched in his lifetime. As I said earlier, he has this profound generosity when it comes to bringing out the best in people he loves. He certainly helped me become the person that I am today. So, Cedric, and I'm going to finish with this. If everybody could be a little bit more like you, this world will definitely be a better place. I feel so lucky to be part of your life, and even more so to be the best man of this beautiful wedding. Cheers to you and Graham, and may this be the beginning of a beautiful life.
Hello, hi, good evening everyone. I'm Kim.
And I'm Jen.
And we're doing a joint speech for our best groups, Cedric and Graham. So here we go. For those of you who are not aware, Cedric and I have been together since we were teenagers. I was on my early teens and Cedric was on his late teens. Just want to put it out there. Yes, Graham, I was first. I came first. Before your mind takes you elsewhere though, Cedric and I have been good friends since way back in the Philippines. When he left for Canada a few years later, amazingly enough, my family moved to Canada as well. And I connected with him right away, and the rest was history. My parents are well aware of Cedric's status and they love him dearly. He practically moved to our place and lived there for a while. My mom's friends would grill her on why he is allowing a boy stay at our place, knowing that I have a boyfriend in the Philippines, who is now my husband, by the way. But my mom would just smile and let it slide. It goes without saying he was still in the closet at the time. In fact, we have a very enthusiastic older auntie that insists that we have a secret relationship and that I was a really bad girl for doing so. But little did they know that we both watch romantic movies and we both get giddy and crazy over the leading man. Cedric and I would be like, bling about, oh my God, let's watch this next movie, I know. And he would take, of course, hours in the shower. An hour 15 to be exact. 3 different moisturizers, 1 serum, 1 sunblock, lip balm. And while me, literally waiting outside the shower, get on with it, I'm gonna be late for work too. And these are all the things that, this is his quirkiness. But out of all that, hides a very responsible kuya, our older brother. He's a loving son, a great friend, and overall, such a golden-hearted person. So Graham, thanks very much for loving him unconditionally and wishing you both only the best. And from here I pass it on to Jen.
Good evening. I met Cedric in Maui in 2010. We both won a trip from work, and I was told to find him, and we did, and then we clicked instantly. He's my big brother and my mentor. Curiously enough, pretty soon after we came back from Maui, I ended up in the same office right next to Cedric. As a result of Sylvia. Together, both of them mentored me, taught me everything I know today in my profession. But not even that. From Monday to Friday, even on some weekends, we have gone through so many ups and so many downs together. Fast forward, one Monday morning, Cedric strolls in, late, may I add, and said, "I think I met someone on the weekend. You should have came. His name is Graham. He's kind of young." Skeptical because we've gone through some heartbreaks together around the same time, shortly before we met Graham. I met Graham on Cedric's birthday that year. I don't know if Graham remembers that. But where we really connected was the following summer at Mel and Ray's cabin in Cultus Lake, where him and I annihilated Cedric at beer pong. That's when I knew he was the man. For me, not him. During your relationship together, I only saw Cedric become more happy, more confident, and he always had a pep in his step, and there is no denying that that was because of Graham. So Graham, thank you for loving my friend and loving me. So let's raise our glass to Cedric and Graham. Cedric and Graham.
Welcome back, everybody. How's everyone enjoying the evening so far? Yeah? Awesome. Okay. At this time, I'm going to ask our groomsman, Mike Michelin, to come up to the podium and say a few words. Mike?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Before I begin, for the French Canadians here, bonsoir. Woo! And for JM over there. So before I begin, let you know who I am. I just wanted to say congratulations again to Cedric and Graham, and for allowing me to be part of your special day. I'm truly honored to be here. My name is Mike, and I work with Cedric. He is fortunate to work with me, although he'll tell you the reverse. We've had a fantastic day, but I thought before I begin my spiel, I wanted to share with you a quick story, and it involves my good friend here, Gord. So, I hear JM, yes. So, anyway, to make a quick story, we're out at the park today and we're taking photos. And while we're out taking photos, there's another wedding party there. And so, the other wedding party, there was a gentleman there, and I'm just gonna guess he was gay. And he comes running over and he goes, "Oh my God, it's another wedding!" And so we're like, "Hey, how's it going?" And so he comes over. And he looks and he goes, Jen says, "Oh yes, it's a gay wedding, it's 2 males." And he goes, "Oh my God, where are they?" And so she points at Cedric, and so he goes over and gives Cedric a big hug. And then he's looking for the other person, the other groom, and he looks at myself and JM and Gord, and he looks at Gord and he goes, "Congratulations!" I swear to God. And JM and I were like, "Yeah, that's right. Too bad your wife's not here." I'm half gay. Anyway, I thought it was a good story. Now my phone's locked again. And one of the things I wanted to share too is thank you to Cedric for making me do 3 things that I'm not a huge fan of. Number 1 is he's making me wear a chocolate brown suit. And number 2 is that he's asking me to do a speech, which I'm not great at public speaking. And the other third thing you guys didn't witness, which is probably a good thing, is we were supposed to dance coming in on the way in the room, but we couldn't hear the music, so fortunately for you guys, you didn't see us dance. So anyway, thank you for that, Cedric. 3 things: dance in public, speech, and a brown suit. Yeah, I know. So Cedric will do it now. Cedric will do it now. Anyway, I've known Cedric for about 18 years, 17 years, something like that. We've been in various roles at CIBC, and we've been I've had various roles, but eventually we found ourselves both financial advisors in the bank. And the first thing I learned from Cedric when you're in the same role as him or competing with him is he's extremely competitive, and he's he's always got to win. And I was like, good Lord, Cedric. So I've had the great opportunity of working with him now for about 17 years. But what I love about Cedric is back in 2008, I decided to change roles. And I decided to become a mortgage advisor specialist with CIBC. And it was the first time that I was going to go into that 100% commission thing, and I was extremely nervous. I have 2 kids that are grown now, but they were young at the time. And I remember going to friends of mine that work in the bank, and I sat down with them, and some of them are here this evening. I was very scared to go into that world, and I said to Cedric, I said, you know what, I'm very, very nervous. I said, I don't know if I'm making the right move. And he looks at me, and he says, you know what, it doesn't matter whether or not, you know, you think you are. I've got your back all the time, and I'm here for you 100%. And it says a lot about Cedric. Right? It really does. Because for those people that know him as friends and don't work with him, he's the same way at work as he is as a friend. He's very passionate, he's very caring. I work with a lot of financial planners like him in the branches. Not a lot, but there's a select few that I work with, and he's one of them. And it's because he cares about his clients and he cares about his friends. I say to people all the time, you're only as successful in life as the people you surround you with. And in the room tonight, there's a lot of people here that care about you and care about Graham. And that says a lot. It makes you successful in life, but also successful in business. So I did want to touch on quickly something about Cedric's friends that are here tonight. And I had the opportunity to go to his stag, and it was in Puerto Vallarta. Yeah. And so we were at his stag in Puerto Vallarta, and the one thing I noticed is I showed up late. So I showed up on the Thursday, and most of them had been there already. And I was the outsider coming in, and these guys were all friends. And I met them at the house that we rented. And the one thing I noticed about his friends right away is, and I learned throughout the weekend that we were there, besides the fact that the French Canadian can drink a lot. But what I noticed about his friends is they are very caring towards each other. They're a very, very nice group of friends. I learned that quickly. Everybody looked out for each other. We went out to the bars and clubs. Everybody stuck together. Everybody respected everyone. And what I liked is I was nervous meeting them because I was the outsider coming in, and not once did any of them ever make me feel like an outsider. And so I thank them for that. It says a lot about your friends. So with that, I wanted to say congratulations to the both of you. I truly am blessed to have you as a friend in my life, as a work partner, and I wish you all the best. I raise my Bud Light to you. So a toast to the 2 grooms. Cheers.
Now, but it's okay. So we just wanted to talk about kind of like our first memory of my kuya. Cedric. I call him kuya. I still remember the first time he came out to me, and it was at a family picnic, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gay." And I was like, "You're only half gay, right?" And that's Gord, sorry. But that's because he broke all the stereotypes of a gay man that I knew. And he continues to break any label or box that anyone tries to place on him, because that's the kind of person he is. He doesn't let anyone tell him what he can or can't do or who he is at all. And, you know, I mean, that's proven with how he's going camping now.
So, my first memory with Ced was back when I was 14. Sam and I were best friends, and you know, like everyone here, you guys all know Ced's such an admirable person. You know, like he's had a really, really tough upbringing. He was a father figure for everyone, but out of all the people I know, he succeeded, and then due to his upbringing, he's done so well for himself, and he lives and breathes by this philosophy of paying back, and that's something I've always respected of him, and he's always been teaching me, guiding me since day one.
So as a child, I didn't fall asleep easily, and my kuya would drive me around Port Hardy every single night until I fell asleep. And it was since then, or all my life, that my kuya has been my source of comfort. And, you know, growing up, I've made a few mistakes here and there, and when the mistake felt so bad and it felt like I dug myself the deepest hole, he was always the first person that I called. I remember calling him and being so afraid. Sorry. And I called him and I told him, and he responded in the most Cedric fashion, just so calmly and full of understanding, and of course with a little bit of a lecture. But it just says who he is. He's that strong friend that you can go to, that won't ever judge you, and that will always know what to do. And I'm sure all of you know that know him personally. Oh, well, I guess everyone here knows him personally. But anyone that knows him knows this very well, that you can always turn to him, and he somehow knows exactly what to do.
So I'm gonna bring it back to his philosophy of giving back. So I was fortunate, or some may say cursed, I spent a whole week with him in Cancun. So it definitely wasn't giving back in alcohol and teaching me in that sense. So out of the whole trip, the most important thing he taught me and I learned was one thing: face cream. You know, I've never seen a man who spends more than 2 hours. He has the same routine every day. Before we go out, he's doing his face cream and everything, but that's why he manages to look like a 20-year-old, you know? No, but all jokes aside, I'm very fortunate and privileged that past 3 years I've been working with Cedric. We spend 8 to 10 hours a day, and I've had my fair share of rough time, but you know, like, having Cedric by my side, like through the roughest times, he's someone that's so heartwarming, and he'll never judge you or have an opinion. He's always been there for me. He's my number one supporter through all the times. He's always been there for me, and I love him for that. You know, everything he's done.
Okay, well, this speech can't be all about him, so. At one of our first family getaways that Graham came on, when we busted out the karaoke, because we're Filipino, Graham broke out his rendition of Bohemian Rhapsody. And when I say busted out, like, he busted out the moves that brought him to the second floor, and like so many voices that I've ever heard come out of one person. But it was truly in that moment that I knew that he was meant to be part of our crazy family.
So I'm gonna bring it back to Mexico, the Cancun, but also the stag, where Freddie over there was a witness to this. So Cedric, someone who looks so confident and looks so beautiful, he does have one insecurity, and that is actually going to the bathroom in public. So when I went to Cancun with him, every night at 10:30, he made me sit by the lobby by himself because he had to use the bathroom. In the stag, Freddie and I were locked out because he had to get ready. But I knew Graham was the one for him, the reason why he doesn't kick him out of the apartment every time he goes to the bathroom.
So Graham, I've seen my kuya in one of the darkest times of his life. But I've never seen him happier and full of growth than when he's been with you. And you truly are each other's lives. And Kuya, sorry. Kuya, I know how hard it is to be that strong friend and to always have to be the strong person for everyone. And I'm so glad that you can have someone that you can turn to and just be vulnerable and heal yourself. And I'm so glad, Graham, that you're a part of this family and you just fit perfectly. And yeah, so cheers to being more official than Stephen.
Wait.
Use your hand or something.
We're gonna ask the moms to join us because I don't know when the dads are gonna.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll try to Don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful. I see your true colors shining. I see your true colors. That's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful.
Can we have Dick and Belinda switch right now? Good. If you can join us on the stage, that would be great. See your true colors shining through. See your true colors. That's why I love you. Don't be afraid to
There are places I remember
I joined Kitchener Elementary in grade 5, around the same time that Jackie and Graham started dating. Jackie and Graham had their first, and allegedly only, kiss sitting on the dryer in Elliot and Nancy's basement after a fateful turn of Spin the Remote. Jackie thought the kiss was both the most romantic and grossest moment ever. Graham said it was, quote, heavenly. I think it's a bit generous. They spent their relationship either awkwardly holding hands or pretending they didn't know each other, until Jackie dumped Graham for Spencer and or Paul, something they both disagree on to this day. A few years later, Graham, being the ladies' man that he is, took both Jackie and I to prom. So nice. He was a great date and even matched his tie with my dress. We loved Graham and always knew we'd be at his wedding. Back then, we thought it might have looked a bit different. Not Melissa, though. She's always known better. But if we had to lose out to anyone, we couldn't be happier that it's Cedric.
Webster's dictionary defines wedding as the fusing of two metals with a hot torch. Well, you know something? I think you guys are two metals. Gold medals. Well, I never had the honor of being Graham's boo. He's always been there for me and proved himself as a definite ride or die. We've shared countless laughs and tears, oftentimes the two being indiscernible. I have so much love for our shared interests, such as arguing ferociously about grammar and quoting old TV shows. Irregardless, I think our most important point of bonding is over the fact that never, under any circumstances, no matter what, should you ever be late. Graham and Cedric, I want to thank you both for being my muses. Some of my favorite face paint, makeup work, and improv dance routines to Sia have been thanks to your gorgeous faces and fierce moves. You guys have such a sweet kind of love together and support each other so generously with your wild work schedules and wilder party agendas. In the words of the great Ted Mosby, there are two big days in any love story: the day you meet the man of your dreams and the day you marry him. Thank you.
We are so honored to be part of this beautiful celebration. Graham has proven himself to be an amazing friend over these many years. When I think of some of the best memories of my life, Graham is always there. He's always there, and he's always wearing neon. And now we're here at his wedding, and he's almost not wearing neon. And it truly is a day to remember. Some of my best memories with Graham include dancing together at music festivals and celebrities, traveling the world to Korea and Japan, and drinking Sambuca in the Balaclava Park, thinking we were very cool. When Graham started dating Cedric, it was amazing to see him so comfortable and happy, unlike how he was when he dated Claire and I. Curious what it is that Cedric has that I don't have, but whatever. Cedric, we're so happy that you and Graham have found one another. You bring out the best in each other, and it's clear how much love you share. We hope you both know how much we love and care about you. We wish you a lifetime of happiness, and we can't wait to see how your future unfolds. We hope it still includes us and even more amazing memories.
We are so grateful our dear friend Graham will be so well loved for the rest of his life. Not just by us, but by someone even better.
Cedric, you make the perfect addition to not only Graham's life, but our own. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, for the love of God, will you teach this man to vogue? Congratulations.
I am Cedric's youngest but more mature sister. When people look at the four of us Conway siblings, they tend to scratch their heads and wonder why our so-called maturity level doesn't really correlate with our ages. The younger ones, this one, are always seen as the more conservative, serious, or for lack of a better word, boring of the group. Sorry. Looking at our social media posts, you can easily see why people would think that. While the older two post pictures of crazy parties, yearly Coachella trips at almost 50 years old, and Vegas and Mexico trips almost every month. The younger ones tend to post advisories on his environmental activities that make you feel guilty about your non-hybrid Ford F-150. And in my case, almost not at all. There's actually a simple explanation to all of this. All you have to know, oh my God, is that our childhood was actually also in reverse. Having an absentee father and overseas foreign worker as a mother while growing up in the Philippines. The older two, at the young age of 9 and 10, became parents to two young children under the age of 6. My brother Cedric especially became the mother and father for all his 3. He changed diapers, signed our report cards, attended parent-teacher conferences, tried to discipline us, and simply raised us. He did all of these while also trying to raise himself. So he was essentially a responsible 30-year-old trapped in a 10-year-old's body. So you see, when finally our mother and stepfather was able to fully take over the parenting responsibilities, the older siblings were finally able to take back their lost childhood, while the younger ones were able to continue on our relatively normal progression from childhood to adulthood. So Cedric may have gone a little too crazy and wild, but so what? I know it seems strange to some people to see a 45-year-old man attend Coachella. 46. Sorry. 46-year-old man attend Coachella every year surrounded by a bunch of 25-year-old French Canadians. But the guy is making up for something, so give him a break. I myself got a little bit worried when, while at university, I realized my oldest brother can out-party a frat boy on speed. Let him be, because he's all good now. He has found a man who can keep up with him, but also be able to put up with him. In all seriousness, Graham, I am so grateful to you for taking on the challenge that is my brother. Although at first I was a little bit worried when I found out during our first meeting that I may have already been in middle school when you were born. But as years have gone by, I realized you were actually perfect for him. I mean, just surviving the planning process of this wedding, alone with the ultimate bridezilla over there beside you, is a true testament of your love for him. I thank you for loving him, accepting him, and for actually willing to join our crazy family. I wish you both a happy and amazing life. I love you both.
Alright, here we go. I wrote some.
I thought you were gonna wing it.
Like 2 sentences, that's it though.
But you did.
But I did. It counts, right? So I'm probably the most emotional person in this family. So if you think that the only heterosexual male in this family is going to keep it together, good luck. I'm going to keep it short though. Graham, thank you. Thanks for making Cedric happy. My brother's been through a lot. From basically at 17, becoming the man of the house when our dad left, to coming out and trying to cope up with this society's view of gay people, to having a hard time trying to find real love when he finally could. It's been tough for him. So thank you for showing him what that real love is again. Thank you very much. Kuya, for those of you who don't know, that means big brother. For us, Kuya, you are the definition of that big brother. You're the definition of what a real man is, really. You know what you did? You didn't complain. You were 17. You did what you had to do. You did what you're supposed to do. You said, if it means I gotta organize and take care of my younger brother when I'm 17, that's what I'm gonna do. No time for drama, no nonsense, no time for nothing. You knew that this is what you needed to do to survive, for our family to survive, so you did it. So as I stand here, look at my daughter, look at my son, and they ask me what a real man is, I'll tell them, go look at your Kuya. Thank you so much, I love you.
I don't know how I'm going to speak now. Sorry. So hi everyone. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Sheila. I'm Cedric's younger sister. He likes telling everyone that he is he's younger than all of us. So don't be fooled. As you know, he's the oldest. Well, actually, if you're going to base it on how he parties, then it looks like he is actually the youngest, because he parties like he's 25. So now you found your match over there. I'm sure a few of you here know exactly what I'm talking about, because you guys party with him like crazy people. Frenchie, the Frenchies over there. Cedric is more like a father to us than a brother. Whew. We are who we are, partly and mostly because of what he did for our family, for all four of us. Cedric is a lot of things. You can consider yourself lucky if he has touched your life one way or another. He's the most generous, loving, kind person you can ever meet. He will have your back no matter what. He gives great advice. Some of it, they can get you in trouble. One thing he will always ask you when you're asking for advice is, what do you want? If you tell him exactly what you want, he will make it happen. One thing I can remember is when I got pregnant and I was young. I told him and I was scared shit. But I told him, and all he asked is, what do you want? And I said, I want to have my baby, but I do not want to get married. Everybody, as a Catholic person in the Philippines back then, everybody you can't just be pregnant and not married. Everybody in my family wanted me to get married, but he was right behind me, fighting for me. Even though that's not what I had to do, but that's exactly what I want to do. He stood up in front of me against everybody
and told them that this is what she's gonna do because this is what she wants to do. And I thank you for that. God must love me very much because he blessed me with a brother like you. Thank you for being there for me, for being my security that no matter what happens in my life, I will always be loved and supported by you. Well, I can't really remember the first time I met Graham. I'm embarrassed to say that. Probably did not pay attention to you because I didn't think that you would stick around. I didn't think that you would stick around long enough for me to try to get to know you. You proved me wrong, sister. It's really great to have you around. It's really great to see you sticking around our crazy family. You are definitely an awesome addition to our family because you are equally crazy. Most of all, thank you for loving my brother just the way he deserves. I will hold you to your promise today, earlier today, that you will never hurt my brother. You better, because if you hurt him, you will answer to me. And I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Cheers to you. I love you though.
Very nicely done.
Very nice.
This is why waterproof mascara was invented for tonight. Okay, so at this time, I'd like to welcome Graham's parents, Elliot and Nancy Papp, up to the stage. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Nancy Papp, mother of Graham, and we welcome you all to this wonderful occasion. It gives us great pleasure to see two such kind, bright, funny people find each other in this world and choose to spend the rest of their lives together. We welcome Cedric officially into our small but loving family. We know that our son is with a good person, and that's what's important to us as parents. It is wonderful also to see all Graham's school friends here tonight. Many we have known from Dragons and Butterflies Preschool, Lord Kitchener Elementary, Prince of Wales High School. You will not find a more loyal and loving set of friends. Growing up in Dunbar gave them a strong sense of community and friendships that will last them the whole of their lives. So, some of you may not have known Graham as a child. Graham's personality then was very similar to his adult one. As a baby, he only slept about 9 hours a night, but he was usually in a good mood and very loving, so he was easy to have around. He was also quite reasonable, even as a 2-year-old, and so you never really had to get mad at him. When he did commit offenses, he always had a logical explanation. When he was 4, and he and his friend were out in the back garden, and they picked all the petals off my prized red tulips, and they put them in a bucket with water and were stirring them with a stick. I went out there and I said, "What did you do this for?" And he explained that we needed them for red peppers for our stew. So it's hard to argue with that. Then there was the great arcade robbery at our campground on Vancouver Island when he was about 9. He appeared at our campsite one night with pockets full of coins. And He tried to claim they were his bingo winnings, but it turned out he and his friend were at the pinball arcade when a teenager named Butch came in. So, Butch jimmied open all the machines with a screwdriver and stole all the money. But he gave Graham and his friend some hush money not to tell. Anyway, I marched Graham down to the office to return the money, and he was let off the hook. As we said, he'd never seen anything like that before. It happened in Dunbar. But I said to him, never hang out with guys called Butch. Nothing good ever comes of it. So when he was 16, my 76-year-old aunt came over from England for a week with her usual 26er of Bell's whiskey. One night, more than half of it suddenly disappeared. So we all looked at each other and said, Graham. So it turned out he helped himself to it to take to a party. But when confronted, he said, well, I heard her say she didn't need the whole thing. Anyway, they had a good laugh over that memory a few years ago when he visited her in England. So she's now 88 and still knocking back the scotch. Graham and I have always shared a love of golf and the outdoors, and we went on several golf and camping holidays on the Sunshine Coast or Vancouver Island when he was a young teenager. We always had a really good time together, and he didn't seem to mind traveling with his mom that much, except when we were golfing and paired up with other people, and I called him Buglet on the tee box by mistake. So he took me aside very kindly and asked me if I'd mind not calling him Buglet in front of strangers. So these traits of patience and pragmatism and friendliness have carried through into Graham's adult life and have served him well both in his social life and at work. He worried in his early 20s, when he was coming to terms with being gay, that he would never find a life partner from such a small portion of the population. But I said to him, you only need to find one good person. And I'm happy to report that in Cedric he has. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Graham's dad. Yes, I know what you're thinking. How come he's so tall? And you're so short? In fact, whenever we're seen together, the two questions we're asked most often to me is, how come your son is so tall, and how come you're so short? Well, the answer is grandparents. Graham had tall grandparents, and I had short grandparents, and I even had a short uncle who's here tonight. He's 92, and I think I'm about an inch taller than him, so. But Graham wasn't always taller than me. I remember when he was 8, I towered over him. We would have these ping pong games. We had a ping pong table we set over our backyard. Graham was very competitive, and so was I, and I was still in my athletic prime or on the way out, and he was 8, so I could beat him quite easily, and which frustrated him to no end. And as the tears would well up in his eyes, I would decide, well, maybe I better tank the game and let him win so we could go in and have dinner. And now I'm sad to say the reverse is true. When we set up the ping pong table at our summer cottage in Point Roberts, he beats me handily, and when the frustration on my face starts to show and the tears well up in my eyes, Graham lets me win. Isn't that right? It just shows you what a kind, considerate person he is. And Cedric, you're lucky to have a guy who will tank a ping pong game to keep his opponent happy. Oh, okay. Well, maybe he's not that kind. Yeah, cheers. Yeah, I left out the trembling lip too. We're not going in for dinner until I win, Dad. And just one more quick story. For those of you who don't know what I did before I retired, I was a newspaper man, and among other things, I wrote about the Vancouver Canucks hockey team. And in 1994, the Vancouver Canucks were in the Stanley Cup final. Some of you may remember that. I know that one person will remember that more than anybody else, and it's Arthur Griffiths, who I believe is in the crowd. Arthur's family owned the Canucks. So if there's anybody more emotional about them losing in 7 games than me, it was probably Arthur. But in any case, Graham was only 4, didn't understand that. And now the series was over. The Canucks had lost to the New York Rangers in 7 games, and I had flown to New York 3 times in 2 weeks, writing about the team and their ups and downs. And when the series finally ended, everybody who was involved in covering that team was exhausted. But Graham wanted to play Snakes and Ladders, our favorite game. We had a big plastic mat that we'd put on the floor, and we would start playing. So I was in there playing, and we were doing our usual thing, and then I was kind of leaning on my hand, and then I was kind of leaning on my arm, and then the next thing I know, there was a hand on my shoulder going, "Dad, Dad, wake up." I had fallen asleep in the middle of Snakes and Ladders. And Graham was very kind and considerate to wake me up so we could continue the game. So Cedric, if you're ever late for work and you feel a hand on your shoulder saying, Ced, wake up, that's just Graham. He's had lots of practice, and I'm sure he'll take care of you just as he took care of me back then. So I hope you all have a great evening. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Well, thank you everyone for crying with us. Well, I'm sure you all know by now that we're a very emotional family. Anyway, I don't usually do speeches because I cry even before I say a word. So bear with me. But I have to thank my son, Cedric. And I just want to let you know, everybody know, that without Cedric, we wouldn't have made it this far. So anak, which is son, in front of everybody, all these people who love you, thank you so much, Anak, for everything you did for this family. And I love you so much. I'm so proud of you. And to Graham, thank you for loving my son. And now I can be in peace knowing that he's in good hands. I love you both. Thank you so much.
I'm trying to think, do I have to pee? No, I think I can make it. For those who don't know me, my name is Dick, the father of Cedric. We're here to celebrate the wedding of Cedric, the bride/groom, to Graham, the bride/groom, or bride/bride, groom/groom. Sometimes I get so confused. But now it's just husband/husband. For some of you who saw me 2 days ago, I looked like a hippie refugee with hair down to my shoulder blades.
Yes.
Well,
It's gone.
I got it cut so people looking at wedding pictures wouldn't ask, who's that long-haired weirdo who crashed Graham and Cedric's wedding? I also think most of the people I know are really, really polite because I've gotten so many compliments tonight after I got my hair cut. Which means they didn't say, will you get that damn thing cut? It looks stupid. I have a greater understanding of the efforts you ladies make to look beautiful. And to be honest, I did look beautiful too. Just out of curiosity, by a show of hands, how many think I should let it grow back again? And how many say, nah? The no's win.
No.
Okay. This should be my last speech at one of my kids' weddings. And unless you have something to add, Sam and Stephen. My last wedding speech. First of all, I have to explain how our side of the family got here. To begin with, I'd like to thank Saddam Hussein. You see, he did a naughty thing and invaded Kuwait in August 1990. Now, old Georgie Bush said, "This will not stand," and started a military buildup. Saddam said, "Oh yeah? I have weapons of mass destruction, and here's who I can hit." One of those places was Dubai, where Belle worked. Cedric's mother, so she thought, maybe it's time to take up her sister's long-standing invitation to come visit her in Port Hardy, the north end of Vancouver Island. Her brother-in-law, Sam, worked for me, and he comes up and says, "I need 2 weeks off at Christmas to go pick up my sister-in-law." Now, this is a prime time vacation period, and it had been allocated many months before. But being the nice, accommodating guy that I was, I talked with my boss, and we said, okay. All I knew was that she had 4 kids back in the Philippines, and when the war was over, she would go back to Dubai. I saw her once with her sister, going into a local bar. Now, every year in Port Hardy, the Fish and Wildlife boys go into their freezers and drag out many fish: bear, cougar, moose, elk, deer, wild boar, cougar, and other strange things, and cook it up and have a big dinner dance to raise money. They even brought in an out-of-town DJ with a big screen who showed videos of the top songs of the day from MTV. Real classy stuff, and the tickets sell out quickly. By the way, if you ever get a chance to eat cougar, don't. It's not good. I was on my own at the time, and I bought 2 tickets thinking I might ask someone. But as the time approached, there was no one that I wanted to take, but I thought, now there's an experience a lady from the Philippines would rank as one of the highlights of her life. I asked her brother-in-law, and he asked her, and she said, okay. These are noisy affairs, so I thought maybe we should have coffee and get to know each other a bit. Sophisticated world traveler that I was, I didn't know if she even spoke English. And I knew I couldn't speak Tagalog. I know. I didn't then. So on the Wednesday before the dance, we had coffee and pie at the local bakery. My friend Fergie came by and sat with us, and when Belle went to the washroom, he said, "Don't you let her get away." I laughed. Kind of jumping the gun, aren't you, Fergie? But she was a straightforward, glass half full gem. And she spoke English. And I still can't speak Tagalog. So I asked her out for lunch this time on Friday. And then there was the dance. And about a week later, I said, I didn't think she should go back to Dubai, but stay here and we should get married. She laughed and said, "You must be crazy. I have 4 kids." I said, "Well, I don't have any. And anyone my age I meet would likely have kids. And this way I wouldn't miss out." I don't know how the kids reacted to this news. I'm sure they wondered whether they would be going to some hellhole to live with some a-hole. The only compensation was that they could trust their mother. Thus began the saga of getting everyone here. I went to Manila in December 1993, lit a fire under the Canadian Embassy, and we arrived in January 1994. Woo! The kids rushed out of the airport and laughed hysterically, pointing to the steam coming from their mouths. Something they had only seen on TV. I think I lost a page. No, I didn't lose a page. It's just out of order. There we go. Something is seen on TV.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, the boss said that's it. No. Okay. Then we went to McDonald's. I'm gonna have to wing it. And while I really did like Jollibee's Big Yum, when we had a Big Mac in front of him, Cedric said, "Now that's a burger." And when we left, he said, "It's going to be so nice to be a son again and not have to be a father." I was humbled, overwhelmed, because I knew what he had been responsible for back there, for everything. If it wasn't for him, they would not have made it. Belle says she would not have made it. I was also so grateful to hear that. It reaffirmed what I already felt in my heart, that I had found my purpose in life. To be the best dad I could be.
You are the best dad.
And to always be there for them. So we went to Port Hardy and settled in. After 2 years, I accepted an assignment to Chile. And with me went Belle, Sheila, Sam, and Rosabelle. It was a somewhat wrenching, cheerful departure, leaving the boys behind in Port Hardy. Soon they moved to Burnaby and stayed with our friend Melba. TJ to go to school and Cedric to carry on the career he had started at CIBC in Port Hardy. After 3 years, we were all back together again in Surrey and all have become Canadian citizens. A few years later, an unrelated event affecting Cedric triggered a crisis, and the upshot was that Cedric came out to us. We were not surprised, but it was his decision to make and not ours to force. We did as a family what we always do, surround with love and support. Free now, he began dating and eventually moved to Vancouver. He would bring guys around and we welcomed them warmly. After a while that stopped and Sheila said, when we were going to meet the latest, he laughed and commented, "It's not necessarily serious, but when I bring them round, you guys adopt them." And that makes it harder when the relationship doesn't work. Eventually he brought around this guy, Graham. We welcomed him warmly, and yes, we did adopt him. Cedric had finally found someone he had been looking for all his life, someone taller than himself. Seeing them together eased our hearts, as all we've ever wanted for our kids had been to see them settled, happy, and in a loving relationship. I will give the only consistent advice I've always given. You're different people. We are all different people. But remember, not all differences make a difference. So remember what annoys is just an itch, not a wound. Just scratch it and move on. Love is the thing that binds us all. So just love. That brings me back to the beginning. I can't thank Saddam Hussein because they hung him. And where he's gone, I'm hoping I'm never near. So it's love, 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 love. That's it. Thank you.
As much as tonight has been a wonderful celebration of Cedric and I's love story, our goal for this evening was to ensure that you felt this party was for all of you too. We feel unbelievably lucky to be surrounded by such a wonderful group of family and friends, and we are delighted that you could join in tonight's festivities, especially those of you who have traveled from all over the world. We feel so honored that you could take time out of your lives to be here. Everyone in this room has played a part in shaping our lives, both as individuals and as a couple. Tonight is about bringing you all together and sharing with you an inspirational story of two people from different backgrounds that have found love. We truly want to thank you all for being here, sharing in the biggest day of our love story. But we wouldn't be here tonight without the help of some truly special individuals, and we wanted to ensure they were given due credit. So, just as we saw there, the videographer team, Chris, Albert, and Mark, they put that together. That was amazing.
We wanted to say thanks to my good friend Nak for coming all the way from Cambodia to capture the moment for today.
Everyone at the Lazy Gourmet team who put together that amazing buffet dinner and really helped us in all the coordination.
Wanted to thank my brother and Bruce from Ono, Vancouver for the hors d'oeuvres that we enjoyed today during the cocktail hour.
We The staff here at Villa Amato, this is really a beautiful venue, and they've been very accommodating with all of our very specific wishes, so we'd like to thank them.
We also want to thank my good friend Mark Tagulau, who actually created this wonderful and beautiful cake and gifted it to us today.
The DJ, Pavel, for putting all the tunes together tonight. It's been really great so far, and he still has some work to do, so I thank him later.
I wanted to thank my brother-in-law Andrew and my sister from Winehouse Wine to provide everything that we were drinking here today and on your tables and the wines that we're
Mike Michelin, who you heard from earlier this evening, he was a big part of putting together liquor order and delivering and all that, so thanks, Mike.
We also want to thank my sister-in-law Miley for helping us today, being the day of coordinator for everything that happened tonight.
And I might not have time to name you all by names, but we had many volunteer friends who helped us on the day, being ushers, as well as picking up liquor and doing all of that, as well as helping us location scout and things like that. So thank you you know who you are, but thank you.
And that's why I want to thank my youngest sister Rosabelle for helping us in arranging the registrations today and getting everybody organized in that one.
And the guys at Elizabeth Stanley Decor, you can see this beautiful, Robert especially, I believe, was one who put a lot of this together, so thank you to them as well.
I want to thank my maid of honor and my sister Sheila for helping us in the first part of the planning, for booking arrangements for like this place and all the other vendors that we did.
And one person who we really want to give a shout out to because we really wouldn't be here without her, and she's standing subtly over in the corner there, but that's Jennifer Fryer. She works for Lazy Gourmet, but she's become so much more than that. She's really become our de facto wedding planner, and we can't thank you enough.
And lastly, our wonderful MCs tonight. Thank you. I know that was not an easy task to stand in front of 260 people to do what you guys did, and we really appreciate it. We also each want to thank a few people who are key parts of our lives. And so I want to start with my own personal thank yous. To start with my new in-laws, Nancy and Elliot. Firstly, I want to thank you guys for raising such a wonderful son. I'm lucky to have him for a husband, and he is what he is today because of you guys. I want to thank you for welcoming me with open arms to your family. I immediately felt very comfortable with you guys the first time I met you. Over the last 5 years, you guys have treated me like a son, and that's really something special to me. And today just solidifies what we have always been, I think, already, which is a family. I want to say sorry for limiting your options for dinner for my lactose intolerance. I am truly sorry for that. But thank you very much for making me part of the family immediately. I want to thank my sister-in-law Stephanie and Matt for treating me very comfortably from the very beginning. Stephanie doesn't know this yet, but very early on in my relationship with Graham, she posted something on Facebook on Pride, and she said, "I love my brothers." This was 5 years ago, and somehow somebody saw that we're going to end up here today, and that's really special. I also want to thank Graham's crew. You guys have made me feel welcome from the beginning, and being part of the crew right away, and today is not any different from that. I really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. I'd like to thank my friends. A lot of you are here tonight. I have gone through a lot of tough times in my life, and as of recently, before I met Graham, was probably one of the darkest years I've ever had, but you guys were there for me. If it wasn't for that, I don't know if I could have opened my heart to Graham again. So thank you for being there for me, and please know that I will always be there for you. I'd like to thank my groomsmaids and my groomsmen for helping me with these arrangements. Everything that is here today, I couldn't have done it alone. So for these guys out here who have been instrumental in helping me through everything, I appreciate all the effort that you've done. I'd like to especially thank my best man, JM, because none of you know, but I had a little bit of a freak out moment last night. And thank you for getting me out of that somehow. You always knew how to get me out of my freak out moments, and so I appreciate that very much. And I want to thank my little darlings, Ella, Nate, Addie, Rowan, and Samantha. You guys are my power source. Your unconditional and unfiltered love is the source of the love that I'm able to give back to others. Because you love me so unconditionally, I'm always recharging that love and able to give back to other people. You guys are the most special things in my life. I especially want to thank my siblings. Thank you for always being my biggest fans. You've always been my loudest cheerleaders. It was a tough childhood. But it was all worth it because it was for you. I have accomplished a lot in my life. The three of you will remain to be my biggest accomplishments. Seeing the three of you grow up to be the loving and good people that you are makes me happy and proud. Thank you for breaking the circle of violence and abuse that we grew up with. And becoming the amazing parents that you are today. Please keep paying it forward to your kids and to the lives of the people that you touch. It's the best reward I could ever receive to keep seeing you three being out there trying to make this world a better place for everyone. Dad, thank you for giving me the experience I never had. Having a dad. You're not my stepdad. You're just my dad. Growing up, going through everything that we were going through, seeing my mom suffering, sacrificing so much, I had one prayer. I wanted her to just be happy at some point. And you are the answer to that prayer. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Mom, thank you for being the wind beneath my wings. Your unconditional love gives me the courage to dream big. Because I know that if I fall, you'll always be there to catch me. I'm fearless in life because I know you're always there. I'm unapologetic about being me because you've always loved me for who I am. Your example is my inspiration. Your capacity to give and to love without asking for it back is incredible. This was the most important lesson that you taught me. Love others first. Don't wait for somebody to love you before you love them back. I'm a better person today because of this. I can only strive to be half the person that you are. I'd feel accomplished if I could be at least that. So thank you. I can't say that enough. I'm everything I am because you love me.
Again, I don't know if I can match that. It's hard going second sometimes. I have a smaller family, so this may not take quite as long, but I now have a much bigger family after today, so. I'd like to start with my parents, of course. They raised me to be the person that I am, and it's truly because of them that I am the way I am. They've taught me to be a caring and compassionate person, and that's what I try to put out into the world, and Cedric helps me do that as well. So to that, for them to be here today and celebrating this with us is really the most important thing to me. My sister and Matt, amazing. There you are, Maddie. My sister and I can't think of a better person to have grown up with as a sibling. I can't think of a single argument we've had ever, really. So it just goes to show we're very compatible, and it's just been so thankful to have her support me and my dreams. You know, certainly younger in my life, but also when I was coming out, and she was really the first one to really embrace Cedric, and for me to be able to move forward with my life as a proud out man. It was very important that she was there, so thank you. To my friends and my entourage, today I had a good idea of what I wanted today to be. And really from the second that they came to the hotel suite this morning, it's been everything and more. So they guided me through this day with the utmost of ease, as they always do. And I want to thank you for always being there for me and for being my best pals. And to my new family, which, you know, after 5 years, it doesn't feel like a new family. It feels like I've been welcomed since the day I was invited to the first Conwy family dinner. And you guys are an incredibly warm, welcoming, and loving family. And I'm so lucky to call you my second family, and I love you all from the depths of my heart. Can't wait for many more years of sharing all the memories together. My final thank you is to the guy behind me, the new love of my life, my new husband. And he wouldn't tell you this, but you've heard a little bit about the binder. And it really is quite a marvel. There it is, yeah. That's one of 7 binders. That's a thin version. So the amount of care and effort he put into the fine details of this wedding, you see have come to fruition that not a single thing is out of place, and I really owe a debt. I really did think I was an organized person.
No, you weren't.
Before this, I mean,
No, you're not.
I really thought so, and it has been proven to me
That you're not.
quite dramatically that I'm not. I didn't know that we could color code things, to put things in plastic sleeves. But truly, I am, he may say he's the lucky one, but I am truly the lucky one that he is now my husband, and that I get to share the rest of my life with him. So my main thank you, among all the thank yous, is to him for putting this together. I know I helped, I think.
A lot.
But all in all, this has been just a fantastic night, and I thank you all for being here.
So it's almost time for the dancing. Just and please, we would really love to see all of you guys there tonight so that you can mingle a little bit more. But before that, just wanted to do one more last toast. Most of you came here thinking that this is a party for me and Graham, but that was not our plan. Our plan was to throw a party for all of you. The very details that I put through all of this, the planning, all the hours, was just really to make this party enjoyable, memorable, and impactful to all of you. Me and Graham getting married puts into the forefront the fact of how lucky we are living in a place like this where we can do what we did today. Yeah. But it goes beyond that. It is because we're surrounded by people like you guys who not only tolerate and accept what we are, but celebrate us for who we are. And many times we hear about the opposite. You know, the people who are labeled bigots, the ones that are homophobes.
There's assholes.
But we feel like the people like you guys don't get enough credit. The people who actually embrace who we are out of the goodness of your own heart without trying, without forcing yourself, you just do. So tonight is about all of you. A credit that's duly to be given to all of you for being you. And we really just want to wish that the rest of the world could be like how this room is tonight. We know that there's a lot of people like us who couldn't do what we had done today, getting married and ending their love story with what happened tonight. So hopefully somebody out there is looking at this room with these people with loves in their heart, and let them realize that it's so much easier to love than to hate people. And you guys are shining examples of that. And so we thank you from the bottom of our hearts, not just for coming here today, but for allowing this day to happen. Graham and I are the luckiest people here because we are surrounded by people like you. So this last toast is to each and every one of you. If for only one day, you get credit for being incredible people. Thank you guys so much.